Welcome to Not Near Mynd. This is a show about comic books, and you are listening live from the heart of Miami. These are some of the comic pickups that have come in over the last week. And as I'm scanning through all these, you might notice that the tune of the week is Unity by Hamza. Lady Fantastic will be out at least as far as the beginning of the show is concerned, but don't worry, she is being very responsible as part of the comic community. She had an auction over the weekend, and during this auction, she wound up selling a lot of books. And because she sold a lot of books, she has to make sure they get out on time. So if she doesn't wind up joining us, her and Shortbox Padawan will be taking care of those. These are some first appearances and keys that were picked up over the course of the last week. And as we get to the last one, which is the first appearance of, well, it's not Richard Dragon, but it is also Richard Dragon. And yes, it definitely is the same guy over here. Yep, that is the Bronze Tiger. And as we're getting ready to talk about that, how about we go ahead and say hello to everybody as I join the regular camera. Welcome to Not Near Mynd, everybody. My name is Rob Wurst. I'm the host of Not Near Mynd. And we are joined today by Miracleman. Welcome, Miracleman.
Hey, Rob. Hey, everybody else. How you doing tonight?
You might be indisposed at the moment, so as we're dealing with that, so here's some of the things that are the top books for this week. This is the worst top 5. And I have the date off that here because these are the books that wind up being what everybody is looking for right now. So that would be You're the Villain, Hellerism number 3. Yes, the first appearance of Punchline is still going strong and still reaching values of about $40, $50 online. Also, we have the Batman 89 Error. Aaron Myers wound up selling that for about $700 on his eBay. Otherwise, you can find it around $300 if you can find it. Otherwise, on top of that, we also have the Ice Cream Man number 1. It is right there for those that want to see it. There's your Hellerism number 3. So,
hey, can you hear me now?
On top of that, Ice Cream Man number 1, because we have a new book by the same writer out this week. On top of that, Adam, Legend of Blue Marvel number 1. Prices on Raw are still going for about $200 now. And of course, Hulk number 1. Red Hulk, not the first appearance within the book. That comes in issue number 2, so that has a lot of room to grow. So why don't we say hi to Miracleman? How you doing, Miracleman?
Good, Rob. How you doing tonight?
Can you hear us?
I can hear you. You can't hear me?
Miracleman?
Hold on.
Miracleman is looking like he's getting ready. I don't know if he has the sound on as of yet. Miracleman, can you hear us? Well, while he's working with that, how about we go over to the chat and say hi to Mr. Gretzky?
How about now?
As always. Oh, there he is. Good to see you. So I'm going
Sorry
to
about
cycle
that.
through all the people that are in the chat right now just to say hi to everyone. Mr. Gretzky, good to see you. Lady Fantastic was robbed by Bub yesterday during Comic Gories. So she will not be on the show, at least at the beginning of the show, because she's getting those books out that those that won the auction, well, they should be getting the books very shortly. She is bagging and boarding and packaging those up as we speak. So thank you, Mr. Gretzky, for being in the room with us. And let's see, who else do we have? Wayne, good to see you. Thank you for joining us. Read more comics. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And we have Life with you, two YouTubers. We have Ricky, Ricardo, Jose, Vacas, Rodriguez. Love that name. Hux79, good to see you as always. Life with two YouTubers, I just said you. Mr. Leo Marquez. On top of that, we have Dollar Bin Fodder. Need to go walk the dog right now. Catch you in about 15. I know he's a little bit ahead in time, so moving on out. Scarpad, always a pleasure to see you. Miracleman is in the chat room. So as we cycle around from everything, is there anybody else, or did I just cycle through everybody? I think that's everybody. So now that I got through everybody, how about we ask the next question that we all want to know? What comics did you get today, Miracleman?
Well, I did get some good new books today. A couple of new things that came out. Last issue of Money Shot came out today. I really enjoyed this book. Tim Seeley is the writer on it. Good, fun sci-fi and you know, a little bit of something else. If your person likes trades, I'm sure the trade will be out really, really fast. It's worth it. Definitely read it. Good book. Superman Villains #1 came out today. So you remember the Superman that they did the Heroes one a couple of weeks ago. And now this is essentially everything from the villain's perspective. So I haven't got to read this one yet. Thumb through it real quick. Bunch of different little stories, it looks like. Different artists. Join the Future from Aftershock. This book came out today. Zach Kaplan is the writer. He did that book Eclipse. He did Port of Earth, both I think which got picked up as option for television before the first book came out. Art by Piotr Kowalski, same guy who did the art for that book Sex that Image did. The art's really good. It's different, a little bit different style. But that one just came out today. That's definitely worth a read. Highly recommend finding that one. Finally got my copy of DC's Unkillables.
Finally.
But of course, that's old news. That was a great story, wasn't it? That was good.
It was all from the villain's perspective, right?
Oh, well, so it's half villains, and then it's half kind of the anti-hero style characters. So, you know, you have Red Hood, you have Cassandra Cain, Batgirl, you know, the less virtuous members of the Bat family. Strange Adventures #1. This got changed to a Black Label title, I think, after it initially got solicited. Tom King, Mitch, and no matter what, I'll get his name wrong. Mitch Gerards. See, nobody knows his name. Mitch with the beard.
We're just going to call him Mitch with a beard.
Mitch with the beard. And then you got Doc Shaner. So the art style changes throughout the book. This was a fun read, man. King never lets me down. He's always doing these stories. You know, people got upset with him with Identity Crisis, Heroes in Crisis. You know, that was a story that was told from somebody who had a unique perspective. I loved it. It was PTSD. It was dealing with PTSD and heroes, and who better than somebody who was literally in combat for America, and telling it from a perspective that most people can't. He can write and he lived that life. This one here, you know, I think it's still maybe not a directly personal story, but I still think it's going to be very personal, despite the fact that it's from a spaceman perspective.
And to be fair, when he was doing the Heroes in Crisis, it was a story he had already pre-planned. It had different characters, and then DC editorial said, "Scrap the characters you were using. We're going to shoehorn in these characters as the red herring, the actual killer." So Wally West wasn't the intended serial killer. This was all DC mandate, and King just had to go, okay.
Right. So there's the part that I think that really made people the angriest too. And the stuff that people disliked the most about that was really an editorial decision. But I will say, I think you'll enjoy this story. Black Label, so they give him a little more freedom. But it's very much, guy went off to war and he comes back, and now there's all these accusations getting thrown at him. And, it's going to be a good story if it keeps with this quality. Ahoy Comics, Billionaire Island #1. This is Mark Russell. Remember Mark Russell, Flintstones?
Oh, yeah. He wrote some good stuff for that.
Good stuff, man. Billionaire Island. I'll tell you what, this is a guy who gets social satire, man. This is a world that looks like it could literally be right around the corner from us right now. Just a couple of years away. Great story coming right out of the gate. If you don't get Ahoy Comics at your shop, guys, take a look in previews, look them up, see if you can get your store to order them in. I'll tell you right now, I have yet to find a bad book. If you think, hey, that looks like it might be interesting, trust me, it's worth a read. Flash 750. Look at that gorgeous Nicola Scott cover, man.
I was between that cover and the Gary Frank cover. So you got that. I got the Gary Frank.
Yeah, I really like the Gary Frank, but I was stuck between this and the Darrington cover, because Darrington is got Barry and Jay shaking hands. Jay's like pushing up the helmet, and Barry's got the hand, but the corn huckster hand behind his head, because they always had to try and make him look very shy and bashful because he was from the Midwest.
Yeah.
And so had them shaking, and it was a really great image. I think I might still try and track it down. And then, they came out today. Haven't read them yet. Justice League 42.
I got it.
I
haven't read anything, but is this the third or second issue that concluded the non-conclusion of the Snyder story?
It's Vendetti's third issue in his storyline, which just starts off essentially with the assumption that whatever Snyder did has been resolved. I don't even want to talk about it. I'm just reading it. I'm just going to read it.
If it's resolved itself, then by proximity, don't we need to not have to read Metal 2?
One would think. But, if you want to find out why, I imagine you're going to need to read it. I know I'm going to read it. I can say whatever I'm going to read it.
Come on, of course we're going to read it. Even if I make fun of it, even if I go, oh, you're just grabbing at cash. Of course I'm going to pick it up.
Right. They're going to grab. I'm yelling at him, you're doing a cash grab as I'm handing them my cash. Absolutely. No doubt about it. No doubt about it. Batman 90, didn't get to read that one yet. They've been good. I've enjoyed Tinian's run, but I don't think it's really been written a lot by Tinian. I think he's only written 2 of the 5 issues he's done.
And a lot of it's probably going to be a little bit of writing by committee.
Right. You can tell there's filler. Because they're making it stretch because they don't have it done yet. But I haven't read this one yet. Maybe that changes here. And then came in the mail.
Quick, I just want to jump in there for a second. From what I've been hearing, that this Punchline first full appearance, first cameo appearance, but we've been hearing, and I heard about this from the Mad Jester on Instagram last night. Take it with a grain of salt. We have heard, or at least the rumor's been going around, that Tinian has said, this Punchline's a very bad dude. We've seen him before. We don't know if they're going to stick with this because things are always up in the air now that the Dido's out. But I heard that we've seen him before, might be a trans character, and that character is Matthew Warner. Batman number 38 from the Tom King run. Take it with a grain of salt. You can get it for $3 right now. Back to you.
Huh. All right, then. I really don't know how I feel about that, but okay. So
just a rumor.
Right. Well, we'll see how that one goes. Maybe it gets a little more popular. Maybe it doesn't. Who knows? Anyway, so I got this in the mail today. Sorry, I moved the camera around. Didn't mean to make anybody sick there. I'm going to do it one more time, so please forgive me. There we go. So I got this in the mail today. League of Extraordinary Gentlemen #1 from the first volume. Collection's complete. I've got the whole every League of Extraordinary Gentlemen book now, and I can finally put that whole series to rest.
And the hardcover one-shots?
Yep. They did the 3 Nemo ones, which, I didn't even know they were coming out. The first one came out, and my LCS was like, I just ordered it because you always get the League stuff. And I was like, it was a good choice, sir. So I did get them. Enjoyed them. They weren't the same, but they were fun. And then I got a couple of just to show you real quick, couple of real nice, slightly older books. Let's see. Justice League of America #114, one of the 100-page giants. Nice tight bind. And where is it? Aha. Batman #540. Now,
Ooh.
I'm going to tell you why I got this book. This book only cost me $1. It's nothing.
Worth it.
It's nothing. Anybody know who the first appearance in this book is?
I should know this. Was that it's the character that's played by Rachel Maddow.
Yeah.
No?
Yeah, nope, that's it. Nope, you got it.
I just can't remember her name.
Yeah.
Vesper Fairchild.
Vesper Fairchild. That's it. Yep. So pick that up for $1. That one was just, hey, now if I ever meet Rachel Maddow, she can sign a comic book for me. I don't know why I would think that.
Rachel Maddow likes comics. I remember years ago when she was on Air America Radio, and she said at all times with her wife, she always has a stack of comic books at the nightstand.
Yeah, I got to dig that, man. Got to dig that. And then the last one I'll show you all tonight, Legends of the Dark Knight #68. That's part 4, The Going Sane. I already had the first 3 parts. This one got a little tougher to find not too long ago because it's a storyline about the Joker, going sane. So it kind of bumped up in value. People were looking for it. I had the first 3 issues. I had them for years. I don't know why I didn't have the 4th issue. Finally ran it down, and it was another $1 pickup.
Did you get a chance to read it?
I have not yet. I have not read that one yet.
Is it a one and done, or is it part of like 1 of 5, 1 of 6?
This is part 4, but like I said, I already had part 1s through 3. But see, this was kind of at the time was a one and done story. I think they added some significance to it during that White Knight series, and because that was about Joker going sane. So everybody was going crazy about this, much like that issue from Star Wars that says Last Jedi on it. Obviously had nothing to do with the film The Last Jedi, but people lost their minds for a couple of months.
It has the words, even though it has nothing to do with the actual story.
Right, exactly. Same kind of thing. He's going sane. Well, he really doesn't go sane at all, whereas in the White Knight one, he actually kind of did. So really nothing to do with each other than the fact that the Joker and sanity were involved, and that was it.
Oh, and don't you have something to say on what's been going on with the White Knight universe that we just found out about in the last day or so?
No, you know what? I don't, because I don't want to spread rumor and conjecture.
Well, so far, all that we do know is that there will be a White Knight universe, which means that it won't just be Sean Gordon Murphy writing it. It's going to be several writers, several artists. It's going to be kind of like a War of the Realms. And if people want to know about the controversy, just look up Sean Gordon Murphy controversy, and you can kind of fill in the blanks on that one.
Yeah, it's, you know what, I don't even want to give any air. You know, personally, I don't really want to give a lot of air to it. But you know, do what you want to do. If DC jumps over Jeff Johns' imprint and all the other imprints that they had deals with, handshake deals, and in some instances contractual deals to do that, okay. You know, I'm sure they're allowed to do that. I'm sure that's built into their contracts and whatnot. But I don't. There's not a lot of meat there, man. That's going to be diluted and um, lose steam so incredibly fast. I don't think it's a good idea to put any eggs in that. But if they want to keep exploring it, great. But you know how DC does it. They think they get something that people like, and then they beat it, and they beat it, and they beat it again.
It's a dead horse, and
right.
we don't like dead horses.
Right. Batman Who Laughs. Who is tired of seeing him at this point?
We have a Batman who laughs. We have a Superman who laughs. We have a Supergirl who laughs. We have an everybody who laughs. Dilutes the greatness of what could be just one character into all of them till we just don't care.
Right. Right. So so whatever, you know, if that's what they want to do, I don't think there's enough meat there to create a whole platform or to create a whole imprint or a mini universe within the universe. And honestly, why would you even want to spend anything off into that? You've got a lot of other properties and a lot of other things that could sell really, really well. So why would you chase this one down? I don't know. Maybe they do, maybe they don't. Whatever. I'm not interested. I gave up. I bought the first issue of the current run, and I was like, yeah, this is, nah. You know, take 1,697 of a Dark Knight, check.
I mean, we also have, they keep saying J.J. Abrams Spider-Man, but it's really Henry Abrams Spider-Man. And in that universe, which was a pretty good universe, they could start a universe, but they can't even get off the ground yet because the last issue was 3, and that came out how many months ago? And Batman White Knight, how long does it take to put out just one issue, let alone an entire series? To put together a universe of something, it reminds me of the Dark Universe that they were trying to start with the movies with, what was it, The Mummy and Tom Cruise. Right. Let's start a universe before we actually build a foundation. Yeah, right. They have a first series that was pretty good. A second one that people seem to like. I haven't read it yet, so I can't criticize it yet. But to build off that bit by bit, don't go, hey, we're going to start a whole new universe from scratch, and we don't really have anything to start with.
Yeah. Yeah, you know, it's kind of like Ultimate's Batman. Or it's slightly less of a jerk All-Star Batman. It's not like, I really didn't find a whole lot unique about it. You know, I started it, so I was like, I'm gonna stick it out and read through the first one. By the end, I was like, okay, you know, that was worth the read. But the second one, I mean, I got to that second issue, and I was like,
Hagu is asking, what issue run is the Going Sane storyline?
So it starts in issue 65, goes 65 to 68. Batman Legends of the Dark Knight. These are so they're, if you go someplace like an eBay, people know what these are for. If you go to most comic shops, you know, they probably went and pulled these and put them up, you know, when a certain well-loved app was utilized to look up their value. And they were probably marked up at most comic shops. Where I found these, because I found the 1, 2, and 3 multiple times. 4, I've had a little. This is the first one I found. But normally it's any place that has got deep cheap bins and they've been there for a little bit. These books will be sitting in there because nobody cared about them until that story came out. Nobody cared about these books. So it's from a middle run of Legends of the Dark Knight. It's not any of the big storylines. You know, when it came out, I'm sure there was a ton of them printed. But
it reminds me back in the late 19s, early 20s of the Legends of the Dark Knight, they had the Venom storyline. And that was before Bane came about. And where did Venom come from? Oh, this Legend of the Dark Knight spiked to $20-$30 or so, and now it's back to around $5 an issue.
Right. And that's what happens. They'll peak and then they'll go back down. But I think I've gone into shops and I've seen them. You know, they may not necessarily be wall books, but they're definitely not in the cheap bins in a lot of comic shops. But you know, you gotta know which ones to go to. If you go to the ones that are newer, they know what it is. If you go to the ones that are old, you know, and were actually there in 1995, I guarantee those books are sitting in their cheap bins. Oh yeah, oh yeah. So. And then, you know, I had all these Kirby books back here. I had one more I wanted to show you. Justice Inc. #3. Last issue I needed from the Justice Inc. run. Created by the same guy who created Doc Savage, maybe, because it's Kenneth Robeson, which was the pen name. I think there was like 30 different writers who wrote under Kenneth Robeson. But I knocked out of the park with the Kirby stuff. All the ones behind there on the back there were recent pickups as well. Getting really deep on the Kirby Bronze Age stuff from DC, and I think I have a good shot of finishing it off this year.
Okay, you're going to finish those long before I do. I'm working on things similar but different. But if I got everything, I would never complete any run of anything ever. Right.
Well, that's what, you know, I was never the completist. I didn't have to knock out the run. I picked up the books that I just wanted to read that book. And then I sat down and I was looking through it. I'm like, you know, I got so many of these series. I have most of them because I love them. And I just want to finish and just read them right through. And the Fourth World stuff, I had barely any of it. And I had a lot of Commandy. I had a lot of his other stuff, but I had none of the Fourth World stuff. And I said, you know, I got the reading order. I want to get the entire Fourth World and just read it straight through.
And some comic hunters asking, didn't Robeson have like 6 names himself?
Well, Robeson was like, you know, several different writers. I think that was Robeson itself was just a pen name.
Looks like we lost audio for a second. While you're doing that, let's also join it. Oh, crap. And there goes my mouse again.
Wow. Is my audio
I'm
working?
Just going to add him to the screen for a second. There we go. Comics on the Mind is joining us. He just got back from the comic book shop himself, so we're letting Miracleman shout what he picked up, but good to see you. We're going to jump on over to you in just a moment.
Good to see you guys, too. Miracleman!
What's up, Comics on the Mind?
Good. Go ahead. I don't want to interrupt you.
All good. So finishing out, go on ahead.
Rob, can you hear me again?
I can hear you just perfect now.
Okay. All right. Good. Okay, good. All right. So I did have a whole box of books I didn't show you guys last week. I'm going to pull 1 or 2 out real fast and show you because I got some other ones that were really sweet and I wanted to show them off. I just got the first appearance of Peter Cannon Thunderbolt.
Nice.
The only sad part, you can't see it real well. There's a tear right here. But you know what? I got this book for 50 cents.
Oh, worth it.
Worth it. Worth it all the way. And then put up this show's not for kids, right, Rob?
Oh, one moment. Let's put up that banner before we start throwing around F-bombs, right?
It's not going to be any F-bombs.
It's going to be some.
We got the banner running.
Oh, one moment.
Oh, jeez,
man.
This
show is for 18 and over. You children at home, we know you're probably watching anyway. But for liability purposes, you should turn this off.
Right. So, Ironwood #1 with Boobalas. So, here's the thing about Ironwood. Ironwood is an Eros Comics book. It was written by Bill Willingham.
Oh, Fables.
Oh, yes. Wow. This is basically Fables if they were always getting nasty and they got to show it.
But they were getting nasty. They just didn't completely show it.
Right, because it was a Vertigo. Because they were like, all right, you can show a boob and the side of a butt cheek, but that's about it. No, not here in Ironwood. No such rules under the Eros Comics imprint.
No, it was Eros.
Right. So this is actually really good. Willingham did 2 different fantasy series before he had the runaway hit of Fables. Really 3, because Elementals was it was superheroes, but it really was very much of a fantasy series. But he did Ironwood, which I think went 12 issues, somewhere around there. Then he did Coventry, which only went 3 issues. Those are actually pretty tough to find if you come across them. First issue is an all-white cardstock cover with a frog in the center of it. So if you come across it, pick it up. But it only went 3 issues. And then he finally went to Fables in the early 2000s and got that series. But he's dealt with a lot of fantasy elements before. He definitely kind of refined some of his work here in Ironwood and in Coventry. But I've been trying to finish those 2 series off because I was a huge Fables fan when it was coming out. And I'm just about done. Need 1 more issue of Ironwood here, and then I have the full run.
Sweet.
Yeah, excited for that. So that's it. I'll put this one down so nobody can see the boobalas. We don't have to worry about anymore.
Take this banner down now.
Right, there you go.
No boobalas, please.
No boobalas.
Don't kick us off YouTube or fine me for money I don't have in the bank at all.
Right. You know what they say, Rob? You can't get blood from a stone.
No, but you can get it from comic books if you wind up selling it dirt cheap. Just ask about that first Peter Cannon.
I guess that's true, right?
That's hilarious.
That's sad.
We might want to take a look at because we all have some comics on the mind.
Oh, yeah.
So what do you got to show, man?
Oh, me? Oh,
yeah.
I thought you had some more to show. Oh, I have plenty to show. So
you. What comics did you get?
What comics did I get?
Over to you.
Of course, we know he had to get it. Dun, 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 dun. Of course, anything by Scotty Young, it's mine. So I had to get this. I've been wanting to read this for a minute, so I can't wait to read it. I hope it's good. I liked it so much.
Was that a Ramos cover?
Yeah. This is the
Ramos cover and the Young cover.
And the Scotty Young cover. Of course, I had to. This is going on the Scotty wall with all my other Scotty covers. And then I got issue number 7 of Agents of Wakanda. Look at that Fing Fang Fu. Great cover. And then I'm still reading issue number 7, but here's 8 of Valkyrie. Love this series. Really good. And I love the Stay Puft put me on this series, but here's issue number 2 of the Ghostbusters, like year 1. I can't wait to read. I've read the first issue and it was really good.
Yeah, I think and that up in the chat.
Who did?
Mr. Gretzky. I think he was commenting about that before the show.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I love this. I love that series. Issue number 1 was really great. And then I've been hearing a lot of hype about this series. And my comic book shop was really hyping it up, and then I saw a lot of like previews for it, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna read that. Is he good or is he evil? Who knows? So it should be good. And of course, I'm reading Doctor Doom. I love Kang the Conqueror, so he's like one of my favorite villains. So I definitely like the fact that him and Doom are teaming up. / they're like frenemies, And then I got Excalibur. Look at that wall. Everybody is on the wall.
It seems like everybody's dying in the X-Men. I'm wondering.
Death is just thrown away. Like you can just be resurrected, like that. At
some point, they're going to stop being able to be resurrected. We already know that. And my better guess is for all those that have died and come back, what if they just like melt into nothing and all those people that have died actually died way back when? like Nightcrawler, Cyclops, all of them.
Yeah.
One day just whoop, now these are just the new mutants that are still stuck around.
Yeah.
I'm still curious. There's lots more questions than we get answers right now.
Yeah, and even like when you die in a situation like in the vault, where if your body dies on the other side, there's no way to recover you. So the memory that comes back with you when you're resurrected is before that, you know. So you don't even have that memory. So it gets pretty sketchy. But back to the pool. I'm also reading Savage Avengers, and I was all tripped out about that cover because I'm like, hey, you're cheating on Daredevil. So it's gonna be. I love Savage Avengers, so it's been one of my favorite reads.
Does it look like it's going to continue past issue 12, or do you think it'll just end at 12?
I don't know. There's so many things that they're doing with like Conan. I think they're kind of like flooding the market a little bit because I'm reading like one of the Conan titles, and then he has like that thing with Moon Knight too. That series with Moon Knight, the Serpent King or something, the Serpent something. So I don't know. Like I hope it keeps going, but I don't. You know, it's kind of hard to tell. I'll let you know after this issue.
Hey, I didn't want to break in on you, but you mentioned Conan.
Yeah.
I forgot to grab it. It's in my bin. A book came out today from Ablaze, which is it just did that Vampire State Building with the artist from Walking Dead. It's doing Unsacred from Mirka and Dolfo.
Okay.
So got a couple more books coming out, but they just put one out today called Cimmerian. Cimmerian? C-I-M-M.
Yeah,
Cimmerian,
that's right.
Queen of the Black Pearl Coast. And one of the first Robert E. Howard stories for Conan was about him escaping. The story starts with him escaping from a town, jumping, his horse onto the ship, and this merchant ship takes off, and then the ship gets attacked by the Queen of the Black Pearl Rose. And, it's a Conan adventure. And the one I saw today had a homage cover of, it was basically an Action Comics 1 homage cover of him, I think it was a boulder or an elephant he might have been picking up or something like that. But that just came out today, so I don't know how they're able to do a Conan book. But if you like Conan, there's another Conan.
I'll have to check it out. I didn't even get a chance to take a look at it. I just kind of like grabbed what I saw and I was like, I'm out.
Right.
But I'll definitely go back and check it out for sure.
All right.
Nope.
Sorry, go back to your poll.
Else?
Oh, no, I have a couple more things I can show. Here's Spider-Verse issue number 6. Yeah, issue number 6, the last issue. What's going to happen? Who knows?
You haven't read it yet, so I'm not going to spoil anything, but you kind of been wondering about Billy. Is Billy really Spider-Zero? Things will get cleared up in that.
And here's some stuff I picked up the other day. Wakanda, issue number 6. I'm just catching up on this. I did not want this issue, but my LCS literally ran out of like the original copy, so I got this Marvel.
Which right as you held it up, he switched the camera.
Hold up.
Hold up again.
Oh, that's right.
Sorry.
I'm not really a fan of the Marvel X variants. I mean, they're all right. My students liked them. They're like, oh, that's pretty cool. I'm like, I just want to read it.
Right.
That's what I did. So the story itself is pretty good.
Was that Kazar at the bottom?
Oh, yeah.
Kazar.
So hold on. This is not for children. I repeat, this one I'm about to show.
Hold on. Let's get the banner up then. Warning, this show is for 18 and over, but if you're younger than that, you better goddamn well have parental supervision.
I tell mommy and daddy to explain this one to you. I picked up issue number 3 because I'm on issue 2, so I picked up this one. I can't wait to read that.
Looks like somebody from Lock and Key used a head key on her.
That series is so much fun, dude. I'm loving. I loved it.
Same here. Same here. I still need to read issue number 2. It's in my other read pile, but I loved issue number 1. It was definitely worth it. And here is the piece to resistance. I can't wait to show this one. I already showed you guys earlier. It is the Infinity Gauntlet. I skimmed through it today and I was like, oh my gosh, this is so good. I can't wait to actually read it. Now I'm going to read this tonight. I'm actually going to put this on top of my read pile because I've always wanted to read this story. I still need to read
that picture.
I'm going to tonight. I haven't posted.
It was so cool how you wound up getting the glow.
It was glowing.
Right at that stone.
Yeah, it was like a perfect shot. I'm definitely going to post it for sure. But that's all I got. That was my pull for this week and just what I picked up this week.
Well, that was a pretty good pull.
Can't wait to read it.
Earlier, we had somebody that was saying that they kind of had to tighten their belt a little bit. I'm going to see if I can find that here because, only picked up one book. And then there's somebody else that was saying I had to tighten my belt. That was probably Gretzky, but let's see if I can get down here a little further. Yeah, no, that's all right. Well, in any case, a lot of people are trying to tighten their belts. As much as they're doing that, I feel like I'm becoming a big old fat ass here. As much as I try and say, I need to cut back. So, no, this feels so bad. What's in the briefcase?
Oh,
it was a thick week. Now, what you saw at the very beginning of the show, I guess perhaps Kirk can take a look at that at the end of the show because I have this giant old stack over here. These were all the books I wound up picking up last week.
Oh, wow.
This week.
Right there.
I mean, yeah, I wound up getting some great stuff here. That's what I'm going. Kazar, awesome, because I wound up getting the second appearance of Man-Thing.
Oh,
nice.
Wow, cool. I love
or rather, the first appearance of Man-Thing in a comic book, because his first appearance with Tales 1 that all of us want. It's a Conan story because I know that Miracleman wants it. I know you want it, and me, I'm a big Man-Thing fan. Man,
I like big Man-Thing too.
Bang Boom, second appearance. First time was way back in 1961 in a Strange Tales that predated freaking Doctor Strange. So
wow.
Some of the books that I wound up getting that you'll see, beginning of the show. So let's find out what's in this briefcase here. So Lady Fantastic is out this episode. She might decide to join us towards the end. She is making sure that all winnings are being sent out from her last auction. Her and Shortbox Padawan are doing that tonight. So she might be watching us. So say hi to her in the chat. And meanwhile, I'm going to post these over to here. And let's see what these look like. All the books that I picked up. And there were quite a few. So let's line that up. And I'll just say hi to everybody else that's still in the chat room right now. Dollar Bin Fodder, glad to have you here. Read more comics. We have Ricky Ricardo.
What's up, Ricky?
Fuck us. And we have a lot of that. And read more comments. We have everybody in the chat room. Anybody who's everybody's here. I know Perry's streaming live. I know Economics' Comics is streaming. So I'm glad that y'all are here with us tonight. And for those in the replay, thank you for watching us. So I'm going to jump my camera on out over to here. Let's see.
What's in the briefcase?
3, 2, 1, and let's zoom the hell in on what was in my briefcase. So like everybody else, I picked up Batman issue number 90. This is the first appearance of the designer, first full appearance. Now, I picked up cover A at my comic shop that I go to every single Wednesday. It usually opens up at about 12:30. I'm the first person there. That's Frank's Comics. Do check that out. If you pull up to the address, You'll see Max Comics outside. It's owned by a man named John Freshly, so he's on Instagram under Miami Fresh. So it's a little confusing with the title of the store, but he will get that all sorted out. So I picked up this one at his shop, cover price. And I also picked up cover B, which, since I have almost every cover B with Batman, this one I could keep for myself. I didn't know if Lady Fantastic might have wanted this, or if she doesn't, that could be something that I do as a giveaway, perhaps sometime near in the future. So moving on from the Batman 90s, because as I've said, I haven't read any of these, despite the fact I got it at 3 o'clock. I got home, shot the video for Instagram, returning phone calls, doing work. Time. I don't want money. I want time back. Time back. Issue 750 of The Flash. This is the This is the Gary Frank cover. I have not read any Flash with the exception of the first issue and the button. Hopefully I'll get around to reading it, or maybe I can use this as a jumping off point. Let me know in the chat. Justice League 42, as from what we've heard from Miracleman, this is the 3rd issue in Robert Venedetti's run. But as what we've been told, I guess we don't really have to read Metal because they just take it as they kind of sorted all that stuff out. Shazam number 11, this came out last week, but I missed it, so I'm glad to pick it up. This is Strange Adventures. I think that Tom King should do nothing but maxi series unless they give him the opportunity to do what he wants without interruption on a title. Batman, I'm sure he could have done some great stuff, but editorial, being what it is, he didn't do what he really wanted to do. So I always take that into consideration. Discovery Bay is joining us in the chat room. Hey, Discovery Bay. Glad to have you, JB. Let me put you up there. Moving on, American Jesus by Mark Millar. This is the conclusion of the storyline. This is going to be moving on over to Netflix. This continues on from his original storyline, which was called Chosen.
Is it good?
I loved the first series. I have not read the second series because when it's these 3-issue chunks, I'd just rather read it all at the same time.
Gotcha.
And Ricardo's saying, welcome from the West Coast. So that's pretty cool.
Hey, West Coast, baby.
Hey, it's probably about 8 o'clock your time.
It's not 8 o'clock yet.
Oh, it's not even 8 o'clock for you guys. It's not even prime time, so we can't even use the salty language around here.
Darn.
But Bitterroot, I love this series. This is by the same guy, David Walker, that was doing Naomi. This is his own series that went on hiatus for a period of time. This came out a couple weeks ago, where the Spike Lee cover has been blowing up. You cannot find that for under about $75, $100 online. But I'm not a big person into variant covers, so just give me the regular cover. I don't want to buy one of those. I'm good with it. That and just look at the art. Art's amazing.
Yeah. Awesome.
Buffy the Vampire Slayer, because I'm just such a huge fan of Buffy. And let's see here. We also have by the same man that writes Ice Cream Man. I have not read any Ice Cream Man. I hear it's a great anthology horror series, so I am very much looking forward to reading this, hopefully tomorrow, before my first case at 9 a.m. at Dade County Courthouse for a motion for summary judgment. That sounds just about as interesting as it sounds. Not at all. It's insurance. Marked issue number, I think this is 6. Is it 6? No, number 5. I have the first 4 issues. I read the first 2. It reminds me a lot of the sci-fi series The Magicians, but just substitute some of their magical powers for tattoos, and you got yourself an interesting comic book. I'm going to definitely be hanging on to this series. Now, speaking of series that I hang on to, I was a huge fan of Chew when it was coming out. Now, spoiler alert for those people at home watching, at the end of Chew, they kind of fast forward about a good 10 years or so. Earth has pretty much been decimated from the alien race that kind of, infiltrated us by chickens. And anybody that's been eating chickens, well, sorry, you're pretty much all dead now. And everyone. So even Tony Chu was dead. So now Tony Chu is back in a crossover. And do we want crossovers? Do we hate crossovers? Well, I bought this, so obviously not. I can't wait to read. Now, Daredevil 19, this is the Spider-Woman variant cover. I just preferred this cover because it reminded me of the covers that Chris Samney was putting out back in the day when Mark Waid was writing the title. And I just love the cover. The layout's great, which isn't to say that the original cover's bad. I just like this, and I don't like buying more than 2 covers. As I say that, of course, I have these. Right? But I'm going to be giving away that A cover.
So it was worth it.
That was worth it. Now, moving on from Daredevil, just like you, Dr. Doom. This is my show. I only read the first few issues, but I'm a big Dr. Doom fan. I love Dr. Doom when he was a good guy. I loved him when he's a bad guy. I love him when he's a middle-of-the-road guy. It's Dr. Doom. How can you not love Dr. Doom? Ms. Marvel number 13. This is the first appearance of Amulet. And just looking from his character design, it reminds me a lot of that movie Moana, the rock character. And from what I was looking at on Key Collector app, even the character design, well, not the design, but rather the story and the background, it reminds me a lot of like the Moana character. So looking forward to reading that. Just as much as I'm looking forward to Miles Morales 16. I mean, I wound up getting a lot more independence this week than I did Marvel and DC titles because, I hit Multiverse comic books, which is way out west off of Southwest 8th Street in Miami. There's their card and logo. They are on Instagram, so check them out. Multiverse, the MIA one, would be the Miami location. And this came out last week, but I wound up missing it, just like I missed Valkyrie. So I need to still pick up that issue of Valkyrie 8. But looking forward to reading issue 2. 1 kind of left me hanging a bit, but... And of course, for Comics on the Mind, we do like the fact that Scotty Young is writing this. But I love his artwork too. And I've been loving what he's been doing on Middle West. So I will definitely be sticking with this series because he's writing the damn thing. Yeah. I mean, I hate Fairyland or F Fairyland, but this, it should be good. Scotty Young has really been refining himself as a writer.
Yeah.
Now, Excalibur number 8, it's just a continuation with, more of the in Great Britain, in the other world, and I don't know if I'm going to be sticking with it. Whereas Waters is Kate Pride. Of course, I will be sticking with Kate Pride as a damn pirate. Even though she died, came back, I'm good with that. But those are all the issues I wound up picking up this week. So, now that we went through all those, we can finally get to the rest of our discussion. So how about we jump on out to all of this? Hey, look at all those spawns.
Ooh, that's so nice.
Yeah, I picked up a big run. Well, not a big run, I guess. I had 9 through like 38 or 42 or something. And I was at a place and I got 2 through 8 for 50 cents a piece.
Oh my goodness, that's so cool.
So nice big chunk. I do kind of dig the Violator cover.
Yes, that's definitely a series I slept on. Like I have issue number 9, which is like first appearance of what's her name, Angela. Yeah. I love her character, and I have like a couple of random issues, but like I really want to collect those first 100 issues. That's
Spawn's a weird title, man. The first 8 kind of tough, a little bit tougher to come by. You know, it used to be a $50 book, I think, at peak. I think now if you're getting $10 on a number one, you're doing a good job.
Yeah. Although today, just as I was finishing picking up all my new books, this woman came in on her lunch break at about 2:00 in the day. She was very quiet. She just grabbed Spawn number one off the wall and go, "It's for my husband."
Right, there you go. So, you know, in those instances, you can charge anything, and they're gonna pay. But you know, if you're dealing with people in the know, you're probably peaking around $10-$12 on a Spawn number one. But after you get past like issue 60, 65, somewhere in that vicinity, I think their print runs drop to like sub 12,000 or something. I don't know what it is.
Wow.
Whatever it is really low. Think about it. Do you see back issues of Spawn just sitting around in the 70s to 180s?
Well, earlier today, right next to that Spawn number one, because I think all of us that's watching the show right now, those that are in the chat room, those that are on the show, we probably all have the first few issues of Spawn. But after about issue 18, 19, 20, 30, those print runs go from about 80,000, 60,000, 40,000, 20, 16, 15, 12, and at one point it was down as far as about 11,222, I think, was the lowest print of all of them. And it was just random ones in like the early 230s, 240s, 250s. Like right next to the Spawn one, there was an issue, I think it was 220, which was the Youngblood number one, not even variant, because at that point he was just doing homages of all these different type of covers. And that one was selling for $60. And I think it's about appropriate for the print run. Right.
They're really low print runs, man. If you have any interest in Spawn and you find somebody selling a collection, man, get your hands on it. Yeah, you're not going to find them in the wild. You're not going to piece that together one issue at a time.
Oh yeah, definitely. My buddy gave me a couple of issues that he had doubles of because he's a huge like Spawn fan.
Yep. I mean, I'm not trying to pick up Spawn, but if I'm ever at a swap shop or a flea market, I don't even consult my little list that people have been seeing on Instagram and Twitter. I just go, oh, a random issue from 80, a random issue from the 140s, a random issue from the 240s.
Yeah.
$2, $5, $10. Okay. Because eventually someone's going to want that and they will pay through the nose. They're okay with it too.
Right. Well, yeah, the Spawn ones in particular, because you know, you find those earlier issues so readily available because there was a lot of people in the 90s who hopped on comics that just never made it out of the 90s with an interest in comics. I have a buddy who has a full run of Verotica, which was the anthology book from Verotic back in the 90s. Guy's never bought another comic in his life. I was like, dude, just sell me those comics. Like, just you don't want them, just sell them. You know. And he was like, no, I read them once in a while. I was like, when's the last time you read them? He was like, yeah, 6 years ago, but still, you know. But there's some of those books like that people picked up in the 90s that, you know, they got out early, they dumped them. They were non-traditional comic fans. But for people who kept reading Spawn, once it got past 50, 60, you lost all those 90s fans. Those were gone. Now you're in, like, these are people who are still collecting comics. So you're not going to see those books, I think, come up for a little while because those folks are primarily still collecting. They're still getting Spawn.
A lot of those people that were reading Spawn were reading it in almost the same way that I'm reading current Flash books, meaning to say that they weren't reading them at all. They were just buying the next issue because it was on their pull list. And meanwhile, they have a giant list of Spider-Man and Batman and Teen Titans. And, oh, well, the new Spawn's out. Okay, I'll take that too. And the next one, and the next one, until they're at like issue 220, and they probably drop it. Because not everyone is reading this at issue 220, 250. And then all of a sudden, wait a second, they're almost approaching 300. This is like Cerebus. But not, because Dave Sim actually worked on every single issue. Spawn is kind of like the producer. Whenever you watch a movie, or rather a trailer for a movie in the theater, and you're going, directed by, you know it's going to be some good shit. But the second you see produced by the same person, it's like, wait, whoa. A producer is not the same thing as a director. Just because he has his name on it, it's like J.J. Abrams on that Spider-Man. He has nothing to do with that.
Right.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Absolutely.
Yeah, Reed Moore has it right here. That hidden in storage units and attics everywhere.
I agree.
Garage sales.
Yeah, if you're looking for Spawn, you want to hit the non-traditional spots for comics. You're going to want to hit the yard sales and the garage sales, because those folks are Gen Xers who are having yard sales, and their wives are finally making them get rid of those comics. They've been kicking around in a short box in their garage since they got married.
You hit those, you hit the consignment shops, especially if you're anywhere in the Midwest, any place where it's not a large city. So if you're in downtown Miami, don't bother. But if you're in Kendall or Homestead, yeah, look that up. But if you're in like Utah, make a list of the pawn shops, because Miracleman found a pawn shop, and
you gotta go by.
Yeah, you know, honestly, I found I made it out good here, but you know, I talk to people, you know, all around the country who don't have comic shops. I tell them, you know, I got 6 comic shops in 20 minutes, and they think, you know, like I live in the mecca of comics. And you know, even having so many comic shops in a concentrated area, I still have all kinds of places that I find that are, you know, flea markets and consignment stores and antique stores and these pawn shops where I find stuff. Those are the places, if you're in a place that doesn't have comics, those are the places that got them.
Yeah.
Steve Whiting, good to see you in the house. Here's another thing.
What's up? Look, Steve. Sorry.
So Steve Whiting, I'm very much looking forward to meeting him at MegaCon, but something earlier today happened in Miami. It was a pretty huge news story. I saw it come across the wire from a Miami Herald news reporter on Twitter that Ultra Music Festival has been, they said postponed, but considering these are big money acts, it's not like they're going to reschedule them for next month. So for this year, it is canceled. That is going to be in 2 weeks. So MegaCon is in about a month from there. So it's still a little too early, and I'm getting a little bit worried about some cancellations. But if they canceled Ultra, shit just got real. So wash your hands, you filthy bastards.
Please.
I want to go to MegaCon and meet everybody. I want to meet Steve Whiting. I want to meet Kirk. Dude, I want to meet you.
Come on, man.
For real, not just in a chat room.
Yeah, I just want to let you all know that comics can survive plagues. So do the right thing and invest in more comics.
Yes.
Buy more comics, read more comics. Because if you have those comics at home and you're told, hey, you're going to have to quarantine yourself, I'm going to go, oh no, with all of this stuff here, however am I going to survive all that?
Yeah, they could lock me in this house for like 6 straight months. I wouldn't come out for a lack of reading material. I'll tell you that much right now. I got like 22 long boxes of comics I got to get caught up reading on, man.
Yeah. We not gonna get bored anytime soon.
Right. As long as we make it, as long as we survive it, we're good. We'll be entertained. That's not a problem.
At least I'll have 89. I don't know what issue 750 is supposed to be. Is that 90? I'll have like 90 issues of The Flash I can read finally.
I don't know what issue is that 90? I don't know if that's not supposed to be 90.
I honestly don't know.
Hold on.
Had I have read issue 88 and 89, I'd be able to go, oh, it is this issue.
I think the last couple issues were pretty good. It's a new arc, I believe, right?
Yes. Yeah, so it's issue 8. Technically, it would be issue 89 of the previous run. because the last issue out of that run was 88, which was From the Shadows of Time Comes Paradox, which is setting up the new villain. Honestly, the Flash, I haven't read that 750 yet. I'm excited to get into it. The guy who owns the LCS told me there was a great story in there with Jay Garrick, which I've just been waiting for the JSA for so gosh darn long.
And they tried doing a JSA, but it kind of didn't go anywhere. Now they're trying to do it again based off of Doomsday Clock, whatever. And we'll see.
Which JSA didn't go anywhere? You mean Earth 2?
Yeah, Earth 2 JSA.
Well, honestly, I think Earth 2 stumbled at the beginning, but they handed the reins over to who finished that series? Whoever finished that series and then took it over to Earth 2 Society. Now, it kind of jumped the shark at Earth 2 Society. But when they decided, you know what, we're going to destroy Earth 2 in the Earth 2 run, every issue from that until the end of it, man, like every single issue was like, yeah, give me more,
Because there was nothing to lose. Nothing would have an effect on anything anymore. So now the writers could just go, oh, I'm going to flex and see what I can do.
Right, and they did. They really did with that book.
It was kind of reminds me of the Ultimate line, right as they were doing the Ultimates, where the Blob is eating the Wasp. They were allowed to do
Ultimatum. I like the original Ultimates run. I loved it. So good. I love the concept. Yes, Galactus is good now.
Joshua Volkov had a good run himself that even introduced Tony Stark making that Infinity Glove or the Gauntlet.
Yeah. Hey, I just looked that up and I realized why I absolutely loved it. Earth 2 when they decided to destroy the world. So Robinson was doing it.
Starman James Robinson.
Right, and I love Robinson. I'm an old school Starman guy. I was gonna get the Starman, the circle on his jacket, the Jack Knight symbol. I was gonna get that as my first tattoo, so I'm a big fan. But Robinson with Earth 2, I don't know. It just didn't. I don't think it worked right. But then they switched from Robinson over to Taylor, Tom Taylor, deceased. They switched over to Taylor, and the artist team kind of changes, but Nicola Scott was on Art Shores, and the last half of that series is just like it's like a flamethrower in comics, man. Like you want to read every single issue. You want to get to the next one.
The art was top notch, but there was no publicity on that. It was just, let's speed this up. We're trying to kill this line off. But meanwhile, they put a great artist on it and a writer that was just starting to become big. Right. And it was just cut it.
Yeah, and then they got to Society.
Hey, Art Chemist. Good to see you.
What's up, Chemist?
They got to Society, which was the follow-up series, which was, let's all try to live in harmony. And who the hell wants to read a comic book about that, man? We want superheroes beating each other up.
Even X-Men, where they're living in paradise.
Right.
The Paradise Island that they're on is even trying to kill them. So no one wants to read harmony.
Not an issue goes by where there is not murder, death, kill in X-Men. I think that's a rule that Hickman wrote in the Bible.
Yep.
If there's one thing I could ask for Hickman and the rest of the writing team to do, please keep in mind that the X-Men is a family book. And I don't mean that like for family or only children should read it. No, I mean that the X-Men is a family. Right. They treat each other like family. Right. I'm not really seeing this in the new run, and I'm seeing a lot of people being more upset about that than anything. And then there's the people that just want to trash it. But that's the one critique I have.
To be 100% fair, I have to disagree with you because I believe Gene, Logan, and Scott are playing family very well.
That they are.
Those
are.
Those three.
Yeah.
But even beyond the underlying implications that they keep dropping hints about all over the place, those three, when you see them interact, you see that family bond. You saw it with Nightcrawler and Cyclops in the last issue. I mean, you saw that. Those are two people who've worked together for a long time and really know each other inside and out. Been friends, obviously, for years and years and years. Have been through the fires together. So you see those type of interactions, and I think you see it in the X titles if you dial down on the minutia of the teams. So like the New Mutants run. You're getting the New Mutants. Obviously, they've known each other a long time, and they act as a family. But the new X-Men,
bickering family. I do love that fact.
That's fun. But the Morrison run of New X-Men, all those New X-Men, they went to go get Beak, and you've both read it. Yet I'm not spoiling it.
Oh yeah, no, I remember. Yes, I was just that. Great minds think alike.
Right. So
spoiler alert, everybody. Go ahead.
So they went to get Beak and bring him because the new X-Men are there, but they're missing their one brother Beak, and they go to get him and realize why he hasn't left. And I won't get any deeper than that to not spoil it for anybody who might be behind, but it doesn't end up well. It ends up bad. Let's put it that way.
It got so bad they Zatana'd Batman kind of bad.
Yeah. So Beak and his wife and his kids they're on Genosha, Onondaga, whatever they call that island, and Krakoa.
Oops.
But so they're there now, but they don't understand. They don't know what happened before they left, and that's going to come to a head eventually, and that's really going to affect.
And that was a deep read because I was kind of blown. All right, we're just going to let that mistake happen,
Right.
And so
I kind of see some of the building blocks of what he's making for later. You can see. They're building up. Yes, everybody's together, and here's the harmony, and everything's wonderful. But you see, the behind the scenes Machiavellian villains moving in some instances. You see things getting set up that are going to eventually hurt each other, and this is going to be worse than being defeated by a villain because it's going to feel like betrayal from your family.
Yeah, I still don't trust Apocalypse, and I still don't trust Mr. Sinister, but I don't think those are two people that should be trusted, And then after reading Wolverine, now there's what's his name, Omega Red now, come on.
Omega Red's a vampire now.
Oh yeah.
See, I didn't pick up Wolverine because I'm gonna say something else here. Even in the 90s, I'm not that into Wolverine, man. I'm not saying there haven't been great stories that have used Wolverine, but, he doesn't carry a title for me. I like the Old Man Logan storyline. That was great. I lucked out and picked that up right as it came out, and I loved it. But, by and large, I'm not a huge Wolverine fan in general. But so I was like, I'm not dropping $8 on that book. It's not a great Ross cover.
Yeah, I heard the same thing.
But no offense to anybody who enjoyed it, who got it. That's great. I'm glad. But that's the reason I didn't go with it. But I heard Omega Red was coming back. Didn't they just dump him in the earth like they did Sabretooth?
No. I think
it looks like we're trying to sentence him for something along those lines, but it seemed a little muddled, or at least I don't remember it.
Yeah. I think he's locked up in a prison. I don't think he's wrapped up in the vines of Krakoa.
Right, gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay, well.
Looks like Beast is ready to do something to realign the way he thinks. Kind of like, I don't know if anyone's seen it yet, the Superman Red Sun movie that just came out, where Superman, yes, the animated movie from DC, follows along the original storyline very closely, where Superman just takes over. And if you don't follow in line, he will recondition you, kind of like what Russia does. Instead of the gulags, he just puts an implant on you where You just follow orders now.
See, now here's the thing. There was a, and you might be very much familiar with this. Squadron Supreme. Did you read the Grunwald run of the 80s?
Oh yeah.
Okay. You ever read that one, Comics on the Mind?
I haven't read it, but I've seen some of the covers for it.
All right. So Squadron Supreme, they brought that out a couple of times. I'm a big Squadron fan. One of the first collections I put together was that original 12-issue run. Mm-hmm. Kicking myself to this day. The original writer, he passed away, and it was right before that trade was printed, and his last wishes were
blood.
His last wishes were he wanted his ashes mixed into the ink for the first trade.
No way.
Yes. And Mark Grunwald, and they did that. They put his ashes in the ink. And that trade, that first print of that trade is like $500 on Aftermarket, man.
Yeah, I have never seen one in person before.
No. And I remember seeing that in previews and going, "Oh, I bet you that's going to be I should get that. That's going to be a really cool collectible." I love Squadron. I've been, because of that maxi series, I went and chased it down, like the first appearances and all that stuff. But if you find it, that's a money book right there, man.
Yeah.
And anyway, the point of that story was the Squadron Supreme maxi series deals with, essentially, because the Squadron Supreme is their stand-in, the Justice League taking over their world and making a utopia. And it's not really utopia for most people. And they eventually rebel. But one of the things they do is they go into the prisons, and all the criminals, all the...
You hear them?
Sorry about that. They go to basically they do just that. They do the brain modification to the villains, and mind wipe them and make them good guys. And in fact, one of the heroes actually does it to another hero to make the other hero fall in love with him. Yeah. So it's actually a really good story. If you ever get a chance, I see them in the cheap bins all the time, man. Pick them up. It's worth a read. Just read it like it's Justice League.
Gotcha.
For the most part, you could probably pick up a set at most comic shops if they have the full thing, maybe $20.
Tops.
Okay.
Cheap.
Sweet.
You might even be able to pick them up just ask Lady Fantastic. She'll probably find them for you for like 25 cents a piece.
Right.
Oh my gosh, she be coming up.
Yeah, highly recommend it though. If you find it's worth a read. It's probably one of my favorite series all time.
Yeah, I was looking at some of the. I think I have like a couple. I have to look at, because I have a very small like DC collection, but I think I might have.
For Read More Comics saying he still needs to read through X-Men Blue, Gold, Red, and Black. You can skip over those. I mean, you can read them for fun, but otherwise it has no bearing almost at all on what's going on currently.
Just
post House of X, Powers of X. You can start there.
Yeah. Yeah, you can pretty much forget everything. You can just hop right into X-Men. I haven't read X-Men title in a long time. But man, I picked up the Hox Pox stuff, and I was just a little bit I knew sucked me right in, man.
The second that you find out, because this show is about why do we love superheroes so much? Because oftentimes we want to escape our world. And if things wind up becoming so depressing, so bleak all the time, and it seemed like X-Men was like that for such a long time, post Chris Claremont, right around the Lobdell era, and then Chuck Austin starts writing it, and really, he wound up having Angel screwing some girl in the air as her parents are watching from the ground, and her bra is being thrown, I think, on her mother or father's face. And we're like, you know what? I think I'm done with X-Men.
Hi, Mom and Dad.
Jumps on, and all of a sudden we have hope again, because we have Colossus, somebody that died, a very loved character, Colossus. All of a sudden, Kitty Pryde is running, and then runs smack right into the dead Colossus. And that's when I was hooked back on X-Men again. And then Joss Whedon fell off of that book. And I don't really remember who all was writing it. I think maybe Brian Wood at some point. They had the first X-Men gay marriage, which was interesting. But I can't really remember what happened in those issues. And I fell back off of X-Men for the longest time. And just like The Flash, I just kept picking up new issues. Wasn't really
X-Men.
There you go. And this is why, if you wanted those Spawn comics, you could probably get a lot of them in very nice condition, because people just picked them up from their pull list, filed it, and never looked at it again. And speaking of which, here's some of those Wonder Woman issues that, I don't know how the story is, but Adam Hughes art, I was picking that up and didn't read any of them and sold them at pennies on the dollar for this guy, because BTL Collectibles show down here at the Miccosukee and Indian Reservation last Saturday of every month. His name's Orlando. Check that place out. It's way out on Chrome Road in Miami. But yeah, I wound up selling it to him for super cheap. And then Adam Hughes, in the last 5-10 years, dollar bin issues are now going for $20, $30, $50. Those Catwoman, that one with her holding the plate because she's in jail, $120 if you want that. Meanwhile, 10 years ago, maybe $5.
Right.
So let's see what you got here.
Wonder Woman.
Oh,
there you go.
Oh, sorry about that. So, what the heck is going on with my audio tonight? I'm sorry, guys.
It's all good.
So yeah, I was just showing some of the ladies of comics I got in the last week, Supergirl and Wonder Woman books. Obviously, I got these two Hughes covers here. See, this was even before he was. This was before he was huge at all. You can still see there's some defining being done in his art style. It's not quite where it's at today, I'd say. But there was also a very specific look to Wonder Woman that he had to go for. But great covers. He can draw beautiful women, and he can also draw them kicking ass. So that's Wonder Woman 158, 173 there. And I didn't get them at $20. I got those as on a sale price. I think I paid $3 a piece for them. But you go into most comic shops, that's the price, $20 an issue. You can't touch them for less than that. And it's definitely not for the stories. It is just those covers.
That's awesome.
Yeah, they're pretty nice there. And then just to give you some comparison, now I love Supergirl, and I love the Supergirl 80s run. But just to give you some real comparison here, this is Infantino doing a female character, and not to say that Supergirl does not look lovely, but boy, Supergirl does not quite look the same here as Wonder Woman's looking on that one.
That's hilarious. That Supergirl looks really cool. This one, wait, that one right there looks really good.
Because it's
that one.
Yeah, old Supergirl from that time period, she looks a lot different than how she does today.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, wow.
I love that cover. Such a cool cover.
Second appearance of Mogul.
Yeah.
Oh.
Very cool. So, yeah. So that's what those are. If you speaking of a series that I just had the toughest time finding, the 84 Supergirl, I think it ends in 85. It's not a lot of issues, only like 18, 19. Supergirl obviously dies in Crisis on Infinite Earths number 7, this version of Supergirl anyway. And this is her last series leading up to it. And I'll be honest with you, the Infantino art is tough for me. I'm just not that big of a fan. But trying to find these in the wild, these are tough. I only got these books for $1.50 a piece, but I was shocked to find them because I can't find these at any stores.
Oh, real quick, we have my best friend in real life, Rufo, that's watching right now. So
Rufo!
Big old shout out to Rufo. Good to see you, my man. Looking forward to seeing you tomorrow. Also, Lady Fantastic is in the room. She just said that she has finished up packing. So, hey, Adult Swim, the pool is nice. Feel free to jump on in anytime. Up to the show.
Oh, she says she's backstage now.
Oh, there she is. In 3, 2, 1. Lady Fantastic.
Yay!
What's up, dudes? Oh my God, we just got
showing books.
What's up?
Do you want to show any books?
Yeah. So I want to share this. Hey, Mr. Miracleman shit. Sorry, I got one for myself.
Nice, very nice.
At least I didn't call you by your first name.
That's true. That's true.
That's my dumbass fault.
His name's
didn't do it
Hubert.
this episode yet. Hopefully not at all. Back to you, Lady Fantastic.
I got this in the mail from a recent auction, but
I love that cover. Oh
me
my
too.
God.
Shuri's my girl.
Yes, I love it.
So yeah, I got Miles Morales number 16. Also, yeah. So the only two other new books that I got were Spider-Verse. So Spider-Verse number 6, right? And Spider-Man Noir number 1.
Nice.
The A cover.
Let me know if it's good.
And I found this in the El Cheapo bin. Heralds of Galactus number 1. Look at that Valkyrie right there.
Very cool.
Got like a She-Hulk in the mouth of a T-Rex. And then you've got Hellcat, donkey kicking somebody. So it's just like a bunch of ladies kicking ass. So I had to get that. It's number 1 of 5. This I found at the comic shop today in the back issue bins. Yeah.
Oh my goodness, I love that.
Nice.
Anniversary cover. Oh.
It's in such nice shape. Like, it's just fucking banging, dude. Hey, Bullseye, what's up, brother? And then I found this one. This one's really cool to me. Is this Green Lantern special from like 86? And it's a part.
What happens in that?
Yeah. It takes place in South Africa, and like fucking the cops get a hold of him, and they're like, he's stripped naked in like, I don't know, the police station, and they're like beating him with belts while he's chained up. It is fucked up.
Oh
Deals with apartheid.
Yeah, it's an apartheid issue.
Yep.
Yeah.
That book, not directly, but long story short, that book kind of leads into another series called Green Lantern Mosaic.
Yeah.
Which is
Yeah. So, man, yeah, I'm gonna read this through, but mine shit. Kurt, if you want me to send it to you, I'll send it to you, brother.
Let me know how that. Yeah, let me know how it is.
Yeah, no worries. And then these,
It's a good read.
I
It's
found
serious.
these are Marvel Comics UK. But if you look really in the corner,
The Death
It's
Head sort of stuff.
Marvel UK. So this is Warheads number 1 or whatever. Yeah, the art's not the best, but it's from the other side of the pond. And then
It's the 90s.
Knights of Pendragon, Marvel UK.
sweet.
I know. I was really excited about that. So
By this point, did they have Pete Wisdom involved or no?
this one, I'll have to look on the inside. It doesn't give any names right here on the front. And then last but not least, I found this in the El Cheapo bins, DC Universe Rebirth first print.
Nice.
Yeah, I was pretty excited about that.
Very cool.
Yeah. So I didn't get much, but I got stuff that mattered to me. So yeah.
But that's what matters.
All that matters. Get
Yeah.
what
Well,
you
we're
love,
glad
man.
that you could show those right meow.
Right? Yeah. So yeah, I've got some other heralds, so it'll be interesting to see how I think I've got like 3 or 4 of the 5, so I'm getting close.
Sweet.
So what have you guys been talking about?
Comic books.
Talk about comics. like things that I wound up also picking up this week where I finally got a chance to read all these things because I've always wanted to know about Mystique, especially after reading the history of the Marvel Universe, and I'm finding out more and more that Mystique.
Mark Waid run?
What was that?
The Mark Waid run?
That's the one. And we find out that Mystique was one of these early LGBT characters of the X-Men, but editorial did not want to have Mystique turn into a man in order to impregnate Destiny to have the child that would be Nightcrawler. So they went, no, don't do that. So I wanted to find out more about Mystique. So I wound up getting all of her first appearances.
Oh, wow,
So,
cool.
16 is I posted these all on Instagram earlier this week, where the it's 3 panels in this first issue of issue 16, and in this one there's like 3 panels as Ms. Marvel's flying overhead. You see this woman holding binoculars, and they go, "But that's a story for another day." Like, okay, well, it doesn't show her with blue skin. You would not know who that is otherwise. So then let's move on over to 17. Now in 17, you have Nick Fury running on in, and it's kind of like that scene in the first Avengers movie when Tony goes, "I know that man back there is playing Galaga." So Nick Fury walks in going, "What are you guys doing screwing around? Why are you watching a woman, this dame on the TV?" And that's when you find out, yeah, if my real girlfriend, the Contessa, goes to hug me, she'll find out that underneath this really heavy coat is just this really stringy frame. So it's like, oh, so it's a shapeshifter, and the person does change shape. But there's no blue skin, there's no white outfit, there's no skull, because that comes in one panel only on this issue. So in one panel, she shapeshifts, and for that one panel, she's sitting in a chair, not full body, but you see the blue skin, you see the skull here, but they only call her Raven Darkholm. So then I go down the rabbit hole of, well, what's the first issue she's called Mystique? I haven't
God,
picked that up yet. So I know that from the reading list order, the next appearance she's in is in issue 22 of Ms. Marvel. And then after that, she jumps on over into X-Men 140, 141. And then finally, of course, Rogue. So when did she get called Mystique for the first time? That's one of these questions. I'm really trying to figure it out.
Yeah, I don't know that. I had no idea that was that much to her first appearance.
I did not know she was in a Ms. Marvel book, so I'm like, my mind is blown.
Yeah, that's one of her earliest appearances. Isn't it, Rob?
Yeah, her first appearance cameo is 16. Second cameo, 17, which it does qualify as a cameo because she's named Raven by issue 17, but not a full name, and she's just a shapeshifter. It's just very roundabout. But then in 18, you see her full form, but she's not called Mystique, just Raven Darkholm, which, cool. We don't know her motives. We don't know who she is yet. So now I need to go look for a damn Ms. Marvel 22. So these are the kind of things that,
issue
for
series,
me,
isn't it?
as a comic book nerd, what's that?
It's only a 23 issue series, isn't it?
Yeah.
Sure.
Read More Comics just said he got the whole thing for $200.
Wow.
I think he got a really good deal, man.
That's good. I'm funny as heck. Pope Cerberus says I'm funny as heck. Mm.
Oh, yeah, you funny.
Pope Cerberus knows what he's talking about. And no, it's not near mint. That's why the show is called Not Near Mint. But it's pretty damn close. I got some high quality grades off that. The 18 I wound up getting off of a YouTube auction. Don't ask me which one. It was one of those middle of the night, hey, $60? Sold. And meanwhile, the 16, 17 I got from, and I have the card right here somewhere because I showed it at the beginning, Phil's Comic Book Shop in Broward County, Florida. He has great prices. Ask for Phil, or if you see the really tall guy with long hair, he's a great guy, very knowledgeable. His name is Brian, and he'll hook you up. Bring cash. But yeah, I'm a big fan of Ms. Marvel. I'm a fan of Mystique. I just wanted to go down that rabbit hole, especially after reading all this stuff on Punchline and cameos and first appearances. And I like the keys, but I like the story more than anything else. And I just want to have that information. I'm like Batman. I want the information, which I wish I had more information on this. It's because of Miracleman that I got this today. Now, the funny thing is, I will not say how much I paid for a book, but today's one of those days where I will. So I got this today from my LCS. It was on the wall. This is Frank's Comics, also known as Max. And this is in Miami, out west, right off of, I think it's 87th Avenue. Doesn't matter. You're not in Miami, but if you are, do check it out. So $15. I picked this up. Now, this isn't the first printing. First printing will have Charlton, and instead of 35 cents, it'll be a 12-center. Now, there's somebody that is directly right next to me right there that'll be able to probably give you a representation of what the first print actually looks like. This is why, as much as you might think you know your Key Collector comic app, unless you really have these things memorized like an art history quiz, I was probably wondering, oh my God, $15. This is a good price. I hope I'm not screwing him. And that's when I go, oh.
Well, I'll have to run and go grab mine real quick, which I'll do in just one moment. But I wanted to give you all a quick rundown on that. So, Rob, you want to hold yours up there again real quick? Yeah. Let everybody see the bullet in the corner. Bring it down just slightly. Okay, there you go. Everybody see that big bullet in the corner? It's a white M on a field of blue there.
Yeah.
So what that is Modern is the reprint line for Charlton. Modern, you'll see these books a lot. They're just Charlton books. But what happened was in the 70s, in a desire to differentiate between their new product and their old product, they did a lot of reprints of their superhero stuff under the Modern line. So you'll see that quite often. You'll see it with the Blue Beetle books, the Captain Atom books, the Judo Master, Peter Cannon Thunderbolt. You'll see it. You don't really see it so much on Peacemaker. At least I haven't seen it. But you'll see that quite often. And those books were printed in the mid 70s. I believe Rob's copy is from 1977.
Yep, 77 was the reprint. The first print was from 1966.
Right. So what they did was they took a whole bunch of those Silver Age books that sold well for Charlton by Charlton standards, and reprinted them as modern reprints in the 70s. You'll be able to find them. They'll be a lot more affordable. Rob still got a good deal at his for $15. I think I found mine years and years and years ago for like $5, but I mean we're talking 15, 20 years ago I got mine. The only difference is that top left corner. I'm gonna put my headset down and run and grab my book real quick to show you what the difference is. But when you see it, you're actually gonna think to yourself, "Wow, the original one is nowhere near as good as the modern reprint when it comes to the indicia." Give me 1 sec. Let me grab that. I'll be right back.
Go right ahead. So, meanwhile, some of the other things that I wound up picking up today because I wound up getting these last week. So there's now one more that I need to pick up from this particular line. This is the Silver Surfer version of Carnage.
Oh, wow.
And then today I wound up getting this.
Ah, cool.
Now, the last one I'm going to need from this particular kind of run is the What If. Well, if this dude had the powers of the Silver Surfer and he took on the Avengers, there's the issue. Here, I'm going to blow you up.
All right. So this here is actually we're going to call it a mini grail for me. One of the things I'm trying to put together this year is a full collection of all the first appearances of the Charlton heroes. Captain Atom number 83 here. It is first appearance of the Ted Kord Blue Beetle.
Oh, wow.
Now, there's a lot of things you're going to see with Charlton books. First of all, I got one from a guy. who apparently thought punching your comics and putting them in a binder was a good idea.
Oh my God.
I know we've all seen it one time or another. I will say this, overall condition of the book, despite that, for a Charlton book is pretty darn good.
And how's the pages on that? Is it very acidic? What's it like?
Your average brown paper bag.
Yeah.
Foxing around the edges, so nobody put that into a bag until later on.
That's supposed to be white, ladies and gentlemen. Here's the thing about Charlton Books. So, and I think I've said this before, Charlton was primarily a company that owned printers. They owned a print shop, industrial print shop where they printed magazines and all different types of things. And in order to keep their presses from ever shutting down, they started lines of comic books. And they just ran anything. They would run reprints. They would just repackage them into a new comic, and it would just be 4 reprints from older stuff. They would do just the most, and I'm saying this as a fan, god awful stories. I mean, the art.
It's also Ditko back when he was really going through his Ayn Rand. And something that I'm noticing your back cover as opposed to mine. So not a complete reprint because my back cover has a completely different advertisement.
Correct.
Oh,
So yours is not a facsimile. So it is a reprint with current ads for 1977.
So let's go to the first page in this and see what the differences are.
Now look at that inside cover, guys. Is that
Right.
the brownest thing you've ever seen in your life on the inside cover there?
But it
It's
smells
from
great.
1966.
But pretty bright colors for it. Give it that.
But what I am noticing as far as the reprint's concerned, and then looking at your copy has the more feathered actual look of artwork, whereas this looks very heavily with the blacks look way too black, and it looks like it's very heavily blocked out. Yours look like actual good lines.
Right. Well, here's the thing, and I have no evidence for this. I did not work for this print shop. But what it looks like to me, I do have a background in printing. And one of the things it does look like to me from my estimation is that they just copied a comic book for their reprints. They did not go back to the original art and reproduce a new product. They literally copied an existing comic out of their archive and just ran with that. I don't even know anybody who has any Charlton original artwork, which would lead me to believe that it doesn't exist.
Or it was stolen, and or somebody could have hoarded it and it got lost in a fire, just like the Hulk 181 artwork.
Right? Happens.
Oh, wow.
Happens.
All right, dudes, I'm going to have to jump off, but I just wanted to say, hey, I'm alive. Sorry I missed the thing.
Oh, good.
Heroes are cool. Woo!
Before you go, like what we do every single week, if there's something coming up on your YouTube page, if there's something coming up on your Instagram, we like doing for those people that have joined us for the first time, or if you watch us from week to week, we like to make sure that the comic community knows what everybody on this show's doing. So why don't you go ahead and promote yourself, Lady Fantastic?
I'm going to be doing everybody in Nashville. I'll be, I don't know what I'm going to be doing. I'll make an announcement of it. Oh, man, I'm so close to getting this paper published, so I've been going balls to the wall at work. So right now my focus has not been as good as it should be on the comics because I just got other things going on right now. But it doesn't mean I don't love them. Also, Popples, number 2. The Poor Man's Care Bear.
Nice.
I love it.
Good shit.
Popples.
Never seen that before.
All right. Yeah, you guys want classy, good stuff? Popples.
Popples.
that you would used to see in a 25-cent bin, but because people have read the crap out of them, you just don't see them exist anymore.
Right.
Yeah. So just regarding the tornado, I slept through the whole thing. So
wow.
I was
How far away were you from all that?
So I was probably like 5 to 8 miles like due west.
Wow.
I was on the west end side. So I didn't hear anything. I was just like, but I woke up to a ton of texts being like, "Are you alive? Are you okay?" I was like, "Yeah, I feel good." Slept like a baby.
I see Tennessee, but I'm going, but I saw her post on like Instagram. I guess she's not dead. Otherwise, if she would have said nothing, well, I'm just glad that you're okay more than anything else. And hopefully,
man, here's the
your family, your friends.
I like woke up this morning to there are so many comic community people that hit me up on Instagram just asking if I was okay. And I like really pulled at my heartstrings, and it made me feel like, these people fucking care about me. And so, I was like, wow. So it was really good. It was a really good feeling. So, it meant something to me. But yeah, I'm alive. Fuck it.
Yeah, this show would not be the same without you. So rule number 1, as I tell everybody from week to week as we close out the show, rule number 1, don't die.
Yeah. Miss Kitty says, hey, what's up?
Kitty and we'll miss Miss Kitty. We don't want to miss Miss Kitty because Kitty would be missed.
She's a pretty shitty kitty. I love her. All right, dudes. That's all I got to say.
Yep, all good. Glad having you as always. Hope you have a great week, and we will be checking in for updates on future auctions or anything that's going on as far as new hauls. New 25-cent bins where you go, hey, look at this like $100 book I got for a quarter.
Quarter bins.
Yeah. You guys got to come down and check out for yourself, I'm telling you.
Or in my case, come up.
That's true. All right, man. You guys be safe, and thanks for having me. I'm a granny, so I'm going to go to sleep.
Good night. Good luck. Glad having you on as always. Have a great night, Caroline.
Night, lady.
Bye.
Bye.
All right. So moving along with the conversation. So what makes you, and we'll start off with Comics on the Mind. What makes you dig these comic books that have the superhero characters in it? I mean, what keeps you reading from week to week? Is it the first appearance in Keys, or are there more underlying currents, like a childhood memory, perhaps?
I wonder.
To your thoughts.
I wonder. Honestly, it's guys like him that keep me. For me, it's not like Keys. Like anybody can go out and buy a key. I have a wall of them over there. But for me, it's like it's the story, the characters that I get connected to. Like of course, like I'm trying to cut back on books, but I bought this Ben Grimm Noir because I have a real big connection to Ben Grimm. I love this character. He's awesome. He's like for me, it's just characters that I actually like connect with, and I can connect with like Ben Grimm. He was, he became like this freak, but even before he became a freak, he was always an outcast. He went through a lot of trauma. He was abused by his dad. But still a man that he loved, and his brother was, killed. So just a character that he dealt with depression. Like I deal with depression. I connect with those. When there's a character you can connect with.
And he was Jewish, and he was accepted as Jewish around the world.
Yeah. So that's
I love the thing.
Yeah, I do too. I don't have a lot of figures, but my homie, he gifted this to me, and I love this dude. Yeah, Ben Grimm's awesome. But it's the characters, definitely. It's the characters. When you have like a story, like you probably see all the Superior Spider-Man stuff in the background, because like that was like a series that connected me, because I was only collecting like Silver Age, Bronze Age, anything I can get in from like dollar bin. But then I started reading that story, and I fell in love. And I'm like, how did he take over, Peter Parker's brain? And I started going back and reading those, and now I'm like, oh, now I want to read some of these modern day stories and see what's happening. So for me, it's just going down those rabbit holes, and finding characters that I can connect with, for me anyway. How about you, Rob? Or Miracleman?
I don't know. Let's zoom on out over here to this camera. Because when I was a little kid, now this is a reprint, because when I was younger and I was playing high school football, which, by the way, kids at home, if you don't know what you're doing and you try and play high school football, you might get injured. And here's such a tale of woe. In 1994, I started playing football, and the first thing I did was tear my ACL. What did I do? I went back the next year thinking I could still do it. I'm a little bit bigger. I'm still fat, but let's still try and play football. So there was this kid named Steve Hutchinson. Now, this guy went on to go play for the Raiders. This guy was almost 7 foot tall, and with my big fat frame, my waist was about the size of his bicep. Now, I'm going to go right back to my other camera here so I can explain this. So, Coach said, Worst, you go out 30 yards this way. Hutchinson, you go 30 yards out that way. We're going to have you, once I blow the whistle, run at each other head first. And I look at the coach, kind of like with the same face. Get out there, Worst. Don't be a puss. You know the word. So, okay. So I get out there, lie back. There goes the whistle. Oh, shit, oh, shit, oh, shit, oh, shit, oh, shit. Run at this guy. Okay, I'm going to die. I'm going to die. I'm going to die. I just put my head down. And right before I got to him, he put his hands out. And my head went right into his hands. My neck went up, back. And that was the first time that I broke my neck. And it was a third vertebrae hairline fracture. And from that, initially, I didn't feel like it was that bad. I got back up, and I'm being told, shake it off, like it's a goddamn Taylor Swift song. Okay, I'll shake it off. I'm okay for a couple minutes. Coach calls water break because he sees that I'm quite dazed and confused. Go to water break. I pick up some water. I toss it on my head, and I fall down, and I am ass out. Next thing I know, I'm waking up in a hospital. And in that hospital, I'm placed in a halo. My body is just put into stretcher so that I can't move. Like, I can't feel my legs. And it was 6 months from there of being told you'll never walk again. You're paralyzed below the waist. Do you understand this? You will never be the same ever again. And all I did was just get angrier and more pissed. And by this point, I was already reading comic books. But that's when I was told, hey, there's this character in the DC Comics. Her name's Barbara Gordon. I'm like, oh, Batgirl. That's how I only knew her as. Well, she's also another character. What? She's called Oracle. Well, great. What the fuck's Oracle? Well, she's in a wheelchair. She's super smart. And yeah, she can still kick ass even though she's in a wheelchair. So ever since then, I was given some Suicide Squads that had her appearances. I was given Birds of Prey, or not even Birds of Prey. It was early issues where she was Oracle. And then I got on to the Gail Simone Birds of Prey. Almost anything that Barbara Gordon in, I was buying. So for the longest time, my holy grail was always the first appearance of Batwoman. So as I'm discussing this, I'm going to jump back over here, and I am seeing people in the chat commenting about this. So yeah, Hulk and WTF, totally true, because my life is a giant pile of WTF. So I asked my best friend as I get her the first, not the first appearance, but the first book of Winnie the Pooh, 1926. It's not in the greatest of condition, pay about $600. and it got me started on my back issues. So I was like, well, if I'm going to pay that much for somebody else, why don't I get some of these comics I always wanted? So I asked for Christmas, hey, I'll take the lowest grade. I don't care. First appearance of Batwoman. So I got a comic book press and I got the reprint. So that reprint caused me to go, well, I am going to get it one day. I don't care how, don't care where. And then I see a auction on YouTube from Chino. And the first YouTube auction I ever bought anything from was, and Ricky Ricardo Vacas Rodriguez knows all about this. I bought myself the Doug copy of Detective Comics, issue number 359, first appearance of Batwoman. Low grade's better than no grade. I probably could have gotten something better, but it is the Doug copy. For those that were always wondering, why is everyone commenting about Doug? Who the hell is Doug? Well, somebody had the foresight to make it the Doug pedigree. What's that smell? It's that old comic smell. So that is why I love comic book superheroes and continue reading it to this very day. So do you have any stories from childhood that cause you to go, you know what? Even though maybe the writer's not the best, but I'm still going to keep picking it up. Anybody have any stories?
Well, you know, I came, and I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but it's midnight, and I'm gonna probably need to wrap after this. But I remember I became a really, I started having a really big pull list in the early 90s. I was very Superman centric. I bought all 4 of the Superman titles that came out in the 90s. I bought all the specials, the crossovers, everything that Justice League International was doing, bought all that stuff. Justice League Europe, you know, the quarterly when they came out. Those were the books I was really heavily invested in. And I can remember I was so heavily invested in Superman that even when I stopped enjoying reading it, I still was getting it. And sometimes for years until I found another writer that I actually enjoyed writing Superman again. And it may not have been the Superman title, could have been Adventures, could have been Man of Steel, could have been, Action. It could have been any one of those titles. But I would keep with it for a really long time because, you know, Superman was a character that had a big impact on me when I was younger. You know, the Superman of Earth 2 was a very integral part of Crisis on Infinite Earths. The Superman movie, the Chris Reeves movie, was, you know, obviously very influential. I mean, at that point, had there been anything as good as Superman, the motion picture, you know, that was the best. That was the best Superman or superhero movie up to that point. So, you know, I stuck with it for a really long time just because of that memory of when I really did enjoy it. And eventually I was glad that I did, but sometimes I look back on it and I realize, wow, I really stuck with some books that I wasn't enjoying reading just because I had always been buying it. You know, and Superman is definitely one of them. But I love the character so much that even when it was a writer that really wasn't doing it for me, or the artist that really wasn't doing it for me, I stuck it through, and I was with Superman all the way up until the New 52. I bought everything Superman from about 2 years before. Well, no, that's not true. From about Man of Steel all the way up until New 52. So Man of Steel, I mean the Man of Steel miniseries from Star.
Yeah, Brian Michael Bendis. I'm still reading it, but I get you. I still love Superman.
The Superman title I've been enjoying. The last 4 or 5 issues I've read, I thought they were really good. Handled a lot of the stuff really well. Yes, I think, you know, he's revealing his identity again. It's different this time because it's, you know, before it was done to him, and, you know, he was depowered. He had problems at that point, but now he's in control of it. He made the decision. He told the people he loved, and he got to bring it out. And I think it's really going to affect the DC universe as a whole, because now you know who the world's greatest hero was. Before, people thought, oh, he's always Superman, but now they know he's one of us. He's He walked among us all these years, you know. So I think the new run's going to be really good. Anyway, non sequitur. But yeah, so the reason I love comics is because I got to start off my life right when superheroes and sci-fi started getting good. I was born in 1977, so Star Wars, Incredible Hulk TV show, Superman movie. You know, then there was a break for quite a while when it came to media. But you know, there was always something going on throughout the late 70s into the early 80s and into the 90s. Superhero stuff kept ramping up, and while the 90s may have almost killed the industry due to speculation, you know, it's rebounded really well. And obviously today superheroes are, you know, ingrained in the pop culture worldwide. So really, I just look at it as like I'm way smarter than other people, and I was just way ahead of the curve by like 3 decades.
You're awesome, dude.
So just kidding, everybody. But yeah, no, I mean, that's, you know, I caught on to something decades before anybody else did. So, yeah, you know, superhero comics, comics in general, can do anything. They can convey any type of message. They can give you any type of feeling. Yeah. You know, they're so
should inspire hope.
Right. It should. Sometimes it inspires other things, but comics should always inspire hope.
Or at least inspire something, even if it's rage. I mean, I read a lot of Bendis books, and I'm like, why do I keep reading this? Thank you.
I mean, if you think about it, comic books were essentially invented by a bunch of people who were immigrants, who were escaping repressive regimes, who grew up dirt poor in the tenements of immigrant communities in New York City. You know, those are the people who invented comic books, and by extension, the vast majority of superheroes that exist in the world. So comics should always inspire hope because they were created by people who had reasons to be hopeless, but always persevered.
Escapism.
I was just
like considering that they're outsiders like us.
Yeah.
Right.
Perfect. Because that's like, for me, I didn't read a lot of comic books. I didn't read comic books when I was like a kid growing up. Like I'm born in the 80s, like 87, but raised in the 90s. And me and my brother always get into arguments about like I'm a 90s baby. No, we're born in the 80s. You know, but I grew up on like a lot of the cartoons, like the Batman animated series, the X-Men animated series, Spider-Man animated series, all those shows I used to watch like religiously, you know. And I couldn't afford the comics, but I watched those shows and I learned about those characters, you know. And I had a connection to a lot of them. Like I loved Beast because like I loved school, like I loved learning, you know. My mom, she ran a daycare, so she promoted education. So like I always liked, you know, there's another outcast who looks like a freak, but, you know, embraces who he is and, you know, is intelligent. Yeah, I know, right? But, you know.
Yeah, I remember 7th grade after not making the volleyball team, and that was the first day coming home from school that Batman, the animated series, began. And I was hooked.
Yeah, I was too.
Well.
Well, I know that Miracleman has to start getting ready for work because tomorrow I need to be up at the ass crack of dawn myself. So I will let Miracleman sign out. But first, let me go ahead and throw some of these banners up for him. So, Miracleman, do you have anything coming up on your Instagram or anything going on? So let's go ahead and say promote yourself as I blow you up and give you the information below.
As per usual, I really don't have anything going on, man. You know, come on over anytime and see me at Komodo1977 over on Twitter. We can talk comics or other things. You'll know pretty fast if you look at my feed. And and you know, I'm always posting new books that I get. If you ever want any advice on where to look for comics and where you're at, or just want to talk about some cool comics you found, come on over and say hi.
Hell yeah.
Other than that, y'all have a good night.
You too.
Good
So
night.
thank you for coming. As always, looking forward to having you join the show next Wednesday. So I know that I need to be getting going soon. We're almost, well, not even almost. We're past midnight now. So we thank you for those that have stayed with us from the beginning, or even if you just joined, you can check us out on the replay. How about we jump on over to Comics on the Mind and ask him to go ahead and faux himself. Why don't you go ahead and promote yourself?
I will do that. Like literally right after this, I'm gonna probably post a couple of videos on my Instagram, trying to catching up on tags and all that fun stuff. I don't really have anything else planned. If I get an invite, I get an invite to jump on. If not, I'll be in the chats if I can. But nothing planned this week. But to read those awesome books that I just got.
So we're looking forward to doing some reading. Well, I will be once I drive up to the courthouse tomorrow. Way too early, and after I'm like, well, I have to wait around for an hour. Well, at least I have this nice big stack ready to go.
Oh yeah.
So I will promote myself. My name is Rob Wurst. As you all know, we do a weekly show called Not Near Mint. And as I tell everybody, you should go ahead and say to sub up everyone in the chat, but this is the Not Near Mint crew. Please go ahead, smash that like button, do sub each other in the chat, because this is the comic community. This is how we get to know one another. This is how you get some extra books. If you haven't been able to find it, the comic community helps you out. Subscribe and hit that notification bell. We do a show every single Wednesday at 10 p.m. Eastern Time. We will be back next Wednesday. My name is Rob Wurst, and your tip of the week is make sure to wash those hands. And if you can pick up some of those books with punchline in it for a little bit cheaper, like that number 90 that just came out today, there's places that will have that $25 cover B for cover price. Do look around. Don't pay over what you think it should. Follow your intuition. Don't follow what everybody else tells you what you should be doing. Listen to your intuition and you'll never be led astray. My name's Rob Wurst, and I look forward to seeing you next week. Have a good night, everybody. Thank you for joining.
Thanks for joining, guys.
Thank you.